Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Pyromancer here, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all having a wonderful day, morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. And before we even get started in this video, I want to give a real quick shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys so much for those of you that support me over on Patreon. I know that I haven't been as consistent with the Patreon stuff as I would like to be, so I sincerely apologize. But thank you to those of you that have still continued to support me over there. My Twitch subs as well. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate it, so thanks so much, guys. Today, I want to talk to you guys about Uldir and the Zandalari trolls, because there's something quite peculiar that I kind of realized the other day. If you guys haven't done it yet, you should go do the quest that you get from Magni that takes you to Uldir to speak with Mother, and eventually leads to you upgrading your Heart of Azeroth. I noticed something while doing the quest that was kind of cool. When you first head there, if you take the flight path that is just northeast of Uldir, up kind of similar to where the Kragwa area is towards Nazwata, one of the broken temples. If you head in from that area, and it seemingly only happens during the questline, because I went back afterwards to try to find them and they weren't there, you come across these Zandalari trolls that are out there in Nazmir. They're like maybe 150 paces from Magni and Brand Bronzebeard standing at the edge with their gyrocopter. And as I ran by them, but one of them says something to the effect of, this is loosely paraphrased, "What? There be no hole on this map. Where's the big hole coming? What is this big hole?" I think the big hole that they're talking about is the giant hole in the earth around Uldir. I was like, wait a second. The Zandalari are incredibly old. We're talking thousands of years old. Surely, given the fact that they had temples built to the northeast, northwest, straight west, south, southeast, and southwest of Uldir, they must have surveyed this area. The Zandalari know this area very well. I mean, they built their shit all along it. I mean, Bwansamdi's temple goes right by Uldir. So the trolls are very familiar with this area, but there's no hole on the map. What map are they looking at? What kind of map did these Zandalari have where the hole around Uldir is not actually even there? How old is the map? And when did the hole that appeared in the ground start? Well, we can learn, I think it's maybe common knowledge, that the cataclysm caused the land of Nazmir to kind of sink into the swamps. The cataclysm, that didn't happen that long ago, all things considered. Deathwing and all of that stuff, that didn't go down too long ago at all. So it kind of makes sense that the map that the Zandalari have wouldn't show the hole around Uldir. But wait a second, that got me thinking, because I never really thought about this before. Uldir was fully buried underground. They buried it. The whole facility was underground, except maybe the very top of it. Wait. Why do you say that, Pyromancer? Well, go to Uldir. Look around. The ground is definitely sunken. There are buildings that are fallen down into the crag. There are roots of trees that seemingly snake down into the open air because the land that they were once attached to is no longer there. The land collapsed. The land collapsed around Uldir and uncovered it. And the blood trolls are now there. On that note, let's talk about Zul. Zul, the Dark Prophet, he saw a vision of the cataclysm where a massive tidal wave would come and wipe the Zandalari out completely. Rastakhan, whether he actually believed in it or not, wasn't going to do anything. He seemed pretty nonchalant, not that worried about it, so it doesn't seem that Rastakhan necessarily believed what Zul had told him. In fact, Rastakhan basically, it sounds like at the time, was so complacent, he was like, fuck it. Take the Zandalari fleet, go do whatever it is that you want to do. I don't give a shit. Whatever. I don't even care. Well, it turns out that Zul's vision, of what was going to happen was wrong. Unless it wasn't. You see, Zul foresaw the cataclysm, right? Zul doesn't always share all of the details of what exactly happens in his visions. He might see the visions, he may have the visions, doesn't mean he has to tell you the complete truth of what he sees in them. And there's actually an NPC in the game that says that. I don't recall which one, but Zul's visions weren't wrong because of the cataclysm. Uldir was uncovered. And I'm willing to bet that because of that, that's why the blood troll problem is so huge. That's why it's so prevalent. And I hate to say it, but if we didn't show up, the blood trolls wipe out the Zandalari. That's my opinion. I think the blood trolls there was way too many of them. When we look at numbers of blood trolls versus the Zandalari, it would seem to me, unless the scaling is just not being accurately represented, that the majority of the Zandalari actually went to the side of the blood trolls. It was actually starting to spread through their city at their very doorstep when we showed up in Zandalar. The corruption was already in the city. So they were already concealing themselves among the society. It was about to be over for the Zandalari. Except, like I said, we showed up. So Zul's vision of the cataclysm causing the end of the Zandalari Empire might not be so incorrect when you think about it. But what is it about us? Why are we so special? We're going to get back to Uldir in a second, but I want to talk about this. There's some new, I think it's data mine dialogue. Maybe it's already in the game? But there's a piece of dialogue that refers to us, the player character, and I'll find it, I'll put it on screen, as the movers of fate. The movers of fate. Most people blow little things like that off. They don't really pay attention to it because, what significance is that? Movers of fate. Think about that. Can we alter fate? Is the significance of our player character, the hero, the champion, our ability to basically accomplish that which is impossible? Force the hand of fate. Move fate. Kind of seems to me almost like it is. We've done some pretty impossible shit. Killing Argus is one of those things. Granted, we did have the help of a bunch of other titans, but defeating the Burning Legion, showing up and stopping the visions that Gahun and Zul saw. I mean, Zul's plan went pretty much fucking flawlessly, up until the point where we actually fought him one-on-one. That's the key. Everything that Zul planned, everything that he wanted, all fell into place, except us. At the end, we ended up stopping it. We moved fate. Now, I don't know if we completely stopped the plot with Gahun, because I don't recall being purified after fighting that thing, which is not necessarily good, and there's still definitely corruption in Uldir, as shown with that same Mother and Magni Bronzebeard scenario. But I want to talk about Uldir, the facility itself, for a second here. Because Uldir is supposed to be a Titan testing facility, right? It's supposed to be testing on old gods. I found, though, that in that facility, there was testing on old god stuff, but also a very heavy emphasis on blood. Testing on blood. I mean, Vectis is basically a blood contagion, blood elemental thing. Blood, though. Blood. When you're questing throughout the Zandalari quest lines on the Horde side, you hear several mentions of NPC characters that talk about something called the Old Ways. The consumption of Shadra by Yasma is part of the Old Ways, where she basically consumes the Loa and ascends to become, well, she looked like a Nerubian to me, which is an old god creature, but I suppose they're probably not related, right? You have these blood sacrifices and these weird blood rituals. These are parts of the Old Ways, apparently. Makes me wonder, what the fuck are the Old Ways? What is that? Is that blood sacrifice? Are the blood trolls, to an extent, what the Zandalari used to be? I mean, it's said that King Dazar, the first true king of the Zandalari, led them out of the muck and mires of Nazmir, out of the swamps and all of that, and built a city of gold, right? In a Titan facility. That's convenient. Builds this city of gold. They're no longer doing any of the blood ritual sacrifice stuff. Where were they doing that? If that was the Old Ways, for sure. If they were actually doing that, where would they have done that? Well, the main city of Dazar'alor points towards the Heart of Darkness in Uldir, or in Nazmir, Uldir. Nazwatha points directly at it, and so did the temple over in Vol'dun. It almost seems like the crossroads for their empire, to an extent, may have actually been where Uldir sits. And there just so happens to be a giant oblivion door on top of Uldir. What I'm getting at here is it's possible that this temple, which, let's be honest, the trolls may or may not know the origin of, they seemingly don't know the origin of, it doesn't seem to me that they're aware that they're living around Titan facilities. They may have practiced a lot of their blood sacrifices right above Uldir. What's the significance of that, though? Well, where did the Titans get this blood that they were testing on? Where did they get all this? Was it all just from Gahun? Or was Gahun in part crafted by this? What I'm getting at is, were the Titan keepers and those things that were inside that facility, were they actually using the blood, potentially from blood sacrifices of Zandalari trolls, in order to obtain the blood that they were using for the testing that's in there? And then when everything went downhill, or they learned or didn't learn whatever it was that the Titans were wanting to get out of the facility, they just buried it underground. I mean, if it was already buried, they're already there. Like, the crown of the facility is the only thing showing. So were they doing blood sacrifices there? Fuck if I know. I can't prove it, obviously. But considering that's where the blood trolls are kind of centralized around that area, I don't think it's terribly far-fetched. However, there's one other huge implication with the Zandalari trolls, and that's Hakar, the Soul Flayer. Because in King's Rest, and I think this is something you can read out of Chronicle as well, in King's Rest it talks about how a blood plague ravaged the Zandalari trolls and nearly wiped them out. In fact, in the same instance, there's a bridge you cross, and it says if you have it, you might as well just throw yourself off the bridge, so you don't infect anybody else. Well, if you jump off the bridge, if you look down, there's water flowing down there, and God knows where else that water flows. So yeah, throw your decrepit, infected body into the water. I'm sure that'll be that's gone well for humans before, right? When we dump our shit into the water, it definitely doesn't get anywhere else that harms any other organisms, right? That's not the point. The point is that Hakar, the blood plague from the Soul Flayer, which is written on a placard in that same instance, is what was ravaging the Zandalari trolls. Hakar, the Loa of blood. What the fuck? Did they used to worship Hakar? I mean, I know that in Chronicle, the Zandalari, at some point, they, set out to destroy Hakar and all those things, but I do think it's kind of interesting that Rastakhan wears an outfit that is definitely, this really isn't even speculation. You can tell, looking at Rastakhan, that his garb looks like Hakar. It's supposed to be Hakar. He's got the red snake skin, the blue feathers, the snake-looking face on his headpiece. Like, it's pretty obvious that that's what he's supposed to look like. So I don't know if that's in some way, like the king wearing the garb of something that they vanquished in order to kind of like show his dominance over it, or if it's like a thing of worship. I don't fucking know. All I know is that Rastakhan is incredibly old. A lot of the older kings of the Zandalari are super old. Zandalari live far beyond the natural life cycle of most other beings, seemingly. And I don't know if that's because of the Loa or because of their connections with the Titan facility around them. Their blue glowing eyes are another thing that kind of sets them apart from all other fucking trolls out there. They have these weird blue glowing eyes. Again, I assume that's the connection with the Loa. But the point of what I'm getting at with all of this is that this shit was like kind of ingrained in their society at one point. I don't know how long it took for their society to collapse in the way that it has. I don't know all the specifics of how exactly that entire downfall went, but the fact of the matter is that Gahun's blood plague seems to cause this weird form of like undeath. Even it's what it seems like to me, unless I'm misunderstanding that. So really, the point that I'm trying to get at here is that the old ways, these blood magics, it's possible that the Zandalari trolls all used to be much closer to something like a blood troll than a Zandalari troll. It seems like Zandalari and their blue skin and their blue eyes is like V2 of whatever they were before. In the presence of Gahun, the cataclysm and all of that basically caused the final collapse of the Zandalari Empire up until the point where even their king died. And now there's been basically a restructuring of power in Zandalar. And Bwonsamdi is certainly now a heavy part of that. I don't know about you, I don't trust Bwonsamdi. So, yeah, I mean, were Zul's visions incorrect? I'm not so sure that they were. And I think that our presence as movers of fate, if that's what we're going to be referred to as, that's pretty significant. That's pretty significant. Being able to change fate is, that's pretty substantial. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about with this today. I wanted to talk about Uldir. I don't understand even what the fuck the Titans' plan exactly was with Uldir. I mean, it seems like the tests were just going to continue over and over, and Mother was supposed to deploy new testing parameters in however many fucking cycles or whatever. So who knows exactly what their plan was or what exactly they were doing. But I think the presence of Voldir, the fact that it was buried, the fact that the Cataclysm uncovered it and would have eventually inevitably led to the tide of blood that would wipe out the Zandalari trolls, Zul's visions don't seem that wrong. And it was only us that came in and basically stopped that from coming true. So, that's pretty much it. That's my talk about the Zandalari today. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button. I certainly appreciate that. It's the best way to know that you guys are enjoying the videos. It's the best way to support me as a content creator here on YouTube. So, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Check out my Twitter. Check out my Twitch. And again, thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll have links to all that in the description down below. That's it. Until next time, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys later. Peace!